Cool. Oh man, that's a good one. What do you do when you don't feel heard?
What do we do when we don't feel heard? We talk about it. I feel like every time we ever get into an argument or a discussion, or even not even an argument or discussion, or anything we want to talk about, or a big purchase that's going to happen, or anything that we discuss, and one of us does not feel heard, we literally stop. Like, I don't feel like you hear me right now. You need to hear me. And it needs to be established that the other person hears you and understands what you're saying. Because sometimes you brush people off, you're like, yeah, 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 whatever. And then later on you realize that person did not hear what I said. So I feel like communication is key. When you don't feel heard, let it be known that you do not feel heard. Let the person know, because sometimes we don't know. Sometimes we're rushing and we're living life and we don't get a chance to talk about it, or we just brush it off. And until you know the person hears you, and until you know the person acknowledges what you're saying and how you're feeling, I feel like you can't blame them, because sometimes they don't hear it. Like, Ron is doing 10 things at once sometimes, and I tell him stuff, and then the next day he's like, what? Huh? And I'm like, oh my God. So now I talk to him and I make sure he repeats to me what I say, and I make sure he understands. And I'm like, okay, so now I hold you accountable because you heard what I said. And the same, vice versa. If he's telling me how he feels, or if he feels I'm being too loud, I have to hear and acknowledge that I'm being too loud, apologize for what it is that is hurting him for the moment, and then we discuss. So,
Girl, you so doggone cute right now.
shut up.
Ooh, I want to bite your face. Uh, I'm gonna say this too, man. As far as not feeling heard, honestly, what I've learned in marriage is there's no intimacy without vulnerability. There's no intimacy without vulnerability. Both people have to be vulnerable in order to get to the next level. And we've had really, really hard conversations. And the crazy part is every time we've had really hard conversations, we've gotten closer. And I feel like there's another level of love that you've never experienced until you've actually done vulnerability. And if you both, again, having a stalemate with pride, ego, and you'll never get to the potential that God put you in each other's lives, man. Because again, on my own, I'm a dope dude. Like by myself, I'm really dope. But putting this woman in my life who challenges me to be a better man, to be more responsible, to be a better domestically, to better financially. You know, she has expensive tastes as well, which I had to learn because I always been, I won't say a cheap dude, but no, I mean she has expensive taste, and so for me, I had to learn to like literally treat myself because I've been poor most of my life, and being as an entertainer, I had to learn to treat myself. Like she used to get on me about, why you saving your food? Like, don't take no 2 bites home. I'm like, well, I gotta eat later on. She was like, I'll buy you some more, and I'm like, oh, okay, you can buy me some more. Like I didn't know, but because I was broke so long about myself, but you don't know until somebody's in your space that you have to change some things. So I'm grateful. Like I said, there's no intimacy without vulnerability, and you have to be with somebody who can handle you being vulnerable. I say this often when we first got together. She's strong, independent, and I grew up in a household where my pops, he sip a little bit. So I'm used to my parents. They loud. I got loud parents, and I'm like, when we got together, I'm like, look, you can't yell at me, okay? You can't yell at me because it reminds me of my childhood, and I can't protect you and protect myself. So with that tone, I'm not going to learn. But when she started getting soft and adjusting to like, oh, okay, I get more done when I talk to him a certain kind of way in a certain tone, she got a better version of me. You know what I'm saying? So you have to be able to be with somebody who you can say, like, look, I'm not at my best when you come at me a certain kind of way. You have to be with somebody who say, look, hey, look, when you talk to me this kind of way, it reminds me of this thing, and I know I can't be my best self. And you have to really do vulnerability in order to grow in a relationship. So for us, the more vulnerable, the more transparent we are, the more we like say, look, I need to be heard because this is important to me. I feel like we've gotten closer because we both had moments where we like, look, I don't think you hear me. Like this is very crucial.
True. Both of us.
Because the worst thing you can do in marriage is solve an issue by yourself without your partner, if that makes sense. The worst thing you can do in marriage is solve an issue, us issue, by yourself. And usually, because I have a really big imagination, if I talk to her and she shuts me down, my imagination will fill in the blanks, and it usually goes to a really, really dark place where she's not included. And I'll assume it's a personal attack. I'll assume that she don't love me. I'll assume that she ain't trying to be with me. I'll assume that she don't value my feelings. I'll assume that she don't respect me as a man. Just because of my imagination, if she doesn't let me know I feel heard. But when she makes me feel heard, I can release all that drama and like just literally be like, okay, this is my boo and I know she got my back and she would never hurt me. So try to find somebody, if you're not married, date somebody who can handle your vulnerability, because that's very important, and you'll need that along the way because we all have moments where Sometimes she's going to be up and I'm going to be down, or I'm going to be down and she's going to be up. I think I said the same thing twice. But you got to have somebody who can handle you at your worst and at your best, and still their love is big enough to handle you no matter where you are in your life, because that's important to get through this thing called life and marriage, man. Relationships are not easy, but let's see. How do you keep... if you don't mind, please use the question box. But yeah, man, I hope that helped.
Just hear each other out.
Hear each other out and really listen. Say, look, you don't hear me. This is important to me, and I need you to hear me. Say that. It's
Especially
okay.
because somebody said guys have selective hearing. They really do. So you have to make sure they hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
I mean, not that... I know sometimes people play video games and I hear he doesn't even play video games, but he's so caught up in all his social media stuff that sometimes I'm talking to him and he's just like, I'm like, no, he does not hear me. So I'm like, Ron, do you understand what I am saying to you? And he's like, wait, what? What'd you say? Yeah. And then you talk about it.
Right.
Even if it takes more time to explain at that moment, take that time, because you're going to regret it later if you don't.
And ladies, please hear me. Your tone means everything. To a man that loves you, your tone will get you everywhere in this world. It's very important. If this man loves you, his heart will melt and give you whatever you need. But if your tone is wrong, even if you're right, we don't want to hear it. So just know, if that tone is right, you get whatever you want from a man. Because as a black man, you go through so much stuff, man. You go through every time you leave a house, it's a threat to national security and your peace. Because from police to your business to... just the corporate world, everything about this world is meant to steer your light as a black man. So coming home to a black woman who understands your heart and she's soft towards you, you get everything you want. But ladies, hear me out. I know you're going to say some dude's going to cheat no matter what. If he's the right guy and he's ready and he chooses you, you get whatever you want from him.